has sprung full on here in Ottawa. I don't know if you're in other parts of the country where it has not fully sprung, but it has full on arrived, and we're all a little bit giddy with excitement, to be quite honest. My name is Cecile Hurley. I'm going to be the host for today. Our agenda for today will be CloseReach News with Kevin O'Rourke. Then we're going to talk about how shared services is approaching AI governance with Alicia Kazanseva. We are going to have a little update on our AI governance solution with Curel. And then we have time at the end for the open forum. I would like to introduce everybody to Alicia Kazanseva. Alicia has been with the Federal Public Service for the past 19 years at Treasury Board, PSPC, and with Shared Services. And she's held various technical and leadership roles, including network administration, cyber and IT security, and incident responder. Currently, she's in the data science and artificial intelligence program under the Chief Technology Officer branch at Shared Services. And she's responsible for leading the AI governance practice and developing strategic artifacts that strengthen the foundation upon which AI solutions can deliver value in an ethical and responsible manner. And Alicia is here today to talk about how Shared Services is approaching AI governance.
Thank you very much, and thanks everybody for being patient. So as I mentioned, work at Shared Services Canada, have been here since 2013. And a little bit about our program. So actually, the artificial intelligence program itself was established in 2019, and we have a GC-wide mandate, and that's kind of the one that I'm going to be focusing on as I go through the presentation. We do have an internal one as well that basically focuses. That's very similar to our GC one, but it focuses on kind of exploring the use of artificial intelligence for internal purposes. We deliver services to the federal government, and so looking at how AI can help us optimize the way we deliver those services, the way we communicate and interact with our partner departments. That's one of the kind of the main cases that we look at. We also run a GC AI hub. Now, the idea behind the GC AI hub is really it's a central source for federal government employees to collaborate. We share a lot of information through the GCI hub on artificial intelligence, on various training and information about our working groups and kind of the emerging side of technology, which includes artificial intelligence. We are considered an AI expert in the Government of Canada, and we do various peer reviews. So for those of you who are familiar with the algorithmic impact assessment or with the Treasury Board Directive on Automated Decision-Making systems that come back with algorithmic impact or systems that have a impact level 2 or higher from the algorithmic impact assessment, they have to undergo a peer review. We're one of the 5 qualified peer reviewers. There could be 4, but we're one of 5 qualified peer reviewers. That means we have the expertise to actually look at decision-making systems for our partners, for our clients, and contribute to this space. We are also, we established and chair the GC-wide governance forum, which is actively growing and is comprised of members from across the GC. And the whole purpose of the forum is to really talk and focus on what we are doing in the space when it comes to leveraging artificial intelligence, deploying these systems in a way that is responsible, that is ethical, and that reflects our Canadian values and the values of the public service. A little bit about kind of, and then I'll just touch base on the slide, but as I mentioned, we got established in 2019, and for the last 6 years, we've been actively working on kind of improving and exploring artificial intelligence and what that means for us, but also looking at how do we govern these systems and how do we, enable our partners, but also enable ourselves internally to deploy these systems in a way that is ethical, that is responsible. And you'll hear me time and time again kind of hone in on this being ethical, being responsible when we talk about kind of deploying these systems. And that's I have a security background, so that's just a topic of my passion. I want to make sure that when we deploy these systems and put them in production, that we do so thoughtfully, and that we really understand the impact, and we're transparent about how we're using these systems, and that we have the proper mechanisms in place to pivot and to ensure that if these systems are causing either harm or arriving at wrong predictions, that we have the mechanisms in place to kind of put a stop and to revert back essentially. We have various use cases. I'll go very quickly with the slide, but as I mentioned, we actually work with various partner departments, and we have quite a few use cases. This is just like five of about 55 that we've been incubated over the last 6 years. We have a security assessment tool that's actually being used right now. And for those of you who are familiar with security assessments, it can be actually a very daunting and a very long process. And there's hundreds of questions that need to be answered. There's potentially hundreds and hundreds of artifacts that have to be produced, or evidence that has to be developed and produced for the assessors to ensure that the system that you're about to put into production actually operates and has the safeguards and controls in place to ensure that it is safe. And so we actually developed a tool on average, depending on kind of the complexity of the tool or the application or kind of what you're trying to certify. It could take anywhere between like 6 months to up to 18 months or longer to certify a solution. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to see if we can leverage artificial intelligence to expedite the assessment process, and also use artificial intelligence to streamline the process and reduce our backlog. And what we found out is that not only did we reach 87% accuracy, we were able to process thousands of questions in a matter of minutes, something that an assessor just could not possibly humanly possible to do. But we also found that with leveraging artificial intelligence, assessors are actually getting better at conducting these assessments, because they're also identifying areas where either an assessor missed something, or they're a user who, or sorry, a writer who says yes, this control exists, doesn't actually exist, right? So it actually helps us standardize, and it helps us with improving the way we conduct assessments. I'm not going to go into, I'm just kind of cognizant of time, I'm not going to go into any of more kind of use cases, but if anybody's interested to learn more about the use cases, a lot of them are available through GitHub, and I can certainly, if we time permitting, I can certainly go back and cover some of them. When we were looking at artificial intelligence and kind of talking a little bit about our governance, our vision is to create a trusted ecosystem for artificial intelligence, to enable clients and partners and ourselves to leverage artificial intelligence in the way that is productive, that is fruitful, that is aligned with our public service values and ethics. And we wanted to look at, we started to think about, like, what does that mean when we talk about artificial intelligence, and what does that mean when we talk about, what does responsible actually mean? And we the more we thought about it, the more we kind of came to a realization that we wanted to kind of ground and build a foundation of what we think a characteristic is for trust. And we looked at various policy instruments. We looked at various kind of think tanks and organizations that are all focused and are all invested in responsible artificial intelligence. And and that includes ourselves as well. That includes Treasury Board Secretariat. And what we kind of identified for us, what we wanted to do is we wanted to set ourselves a series of guiding principles. And our guiding principles are kind of before you, which is, being accountable for the systems that we develop, deploy, and utilize, being transparent of how these systems are used and what their purpose is, looking at fairness and as well as privacy, taking individuals' privacy, and ensuring we're only using the data that would make the use case successful, and that we're de-identifying and or anonymizing where we can. Safety and security, that's talking about making sure these systems are resilient, making sure that they're safe, making sure that they are secure, as well as looking at societal environmental well-being and being human-centered. So never taking the individual out of the loop. And then these are responsible artificial intelligence guidelines, and they're also founded in our values and ethics, are just being just and fair, and as well as being building these systems to be robust and resilient. And we believe these are characteristics of trustworthy artificial intelligence. And for us, trustworthiness is the cornerstone of artificial intelligence. And trustworthiness is not something that you buy. It is not something that it's something that you demonstrate with your approach. It's something that you demonstrate time and time and time again, that your systems can be trusted. It is not a little, little key or a little lock. It's something that you have to demonstrate to your community, and that's the only way that you will get adoption. And that's what we've been focusing on for the last year, is to really understand and how these systems, how we can make these systems trustworthy. And as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we looked at various kind of policy instruments, international kind of bodies of work that happen with across going back to OECD or international standard organization, as well as looking at kind of what our own acts and what our own policy instruments have on artificial intelligence. Bill C-27. I mean, I have to update that slide, but yeah, we grounded our artificial intelligence guiding principles in what we're seeing being talked about and being endorsed by these national and international organizations. For us, key governance elements for artificial intelligence. So about 4 months ago, we actually developed a departmental artificial intelligence governance framework. Our governance framework is available through our GC exchange. Anybody in the federal government can actually get a copy of it and repurpose it and use it. But our key governance elements include the artificial intelligence lifecycle, and which is looking at everything from inception or design to operation and monitoring, and implementing various testing and evaluation elements across every one of those phases of the life cycle. Because when you're in the design phase, your testing and impact evaluation criteria is going to be very much different, or requirements, I should say, is going to be very much different than when you're in the development stages and when you're in operational stages. This also is going to vary between the intent and the objective of your artificial intelligence solution, albeit it's something that you want to explore, or it's something that you want to explore and potentially move into production. As we move towards production level systems, obviously we need the rigor, the safety and controls would also would be more requirements for those controls to be in place. Our the other element is obviously the responsibility guiding principle, which we covered a couple of minutes ago there, and our risk management approach to managing the artificial intelligence risks throughout their life cycle, from inception to decommission, ensuring that those systems are retired effectively in a proper manner, that we understand any legal requirements, any privacy requirements, change management, evergreening, and things of that nature. So those are kind of the elements that comprise together what we think are key governance elements. And that is something that we're actively working right now within the department to put in practice. The kind of the purpose of the governance framework is it's quite simple. We want to, we recognize the importance of using artificial intelligence in our department, and we want to do so in a way that is responsible and that is governed. And we want to make sure that governance covers all systems and all applications. If Regardless if they are something that is custom built or procured or a combination of. And our governance framework extends to everybody who works within our department or is somehow engaged in the artificial intelligence lifecycle. Before I continue, I'm gonna kind of stop for questions. Are there any questions? I should have stopped a little bit earlier, but I'll stop here before we continue. Are there questions?
At the moment, I don't see any, but folks, if you do have questions, don't be shy. Make sure you raise your hand. Thanks.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. So we have set ourselves a series of goals and outcomes for the artificial intelligence governance framework. And number one is we want to be an innovation leader, and we want to have a consistent approach to managing the artificial intelligence lifecycle. We want to make sure that we're responsible in our development and in our implementation, that we're applying risk management best practices across all of our artificial intelligence initiatives, that we have clear roles and responsibilities within various functional teams across SSC, that we have very intimate stakeholder collaboration. We are very focused on ensuring that stakeholders that have a piece or a stake in artificial intelligence are well identified and understand the role that they play in the AI governance. So that means that, we have operational teams, they need to be at the table. We have security teams, they need to be at the table. We have infrastructure and supporting teams. They also have a role to play, and they are active stakeholders and participants in the life cycle. We want to make sure that we have our safeguards and security controls in place to ensure that we understand our key performance indicators, that we understand, what we have the proper mechanisms in place to evaluate and monitor the effectiveness of artificial intelligence systems in a way that is repeatable and systematic. And when these systems become or outlive their usefulness, they are retired or decommissioned. And we want to make sure that we are accountable and develop in a way that demonstrates trust. Reporting on areas where there's non-compliance to the responsible AI guiding principles, and we are actually with our first step in getting that done actually is developing an AI registry. We just developed the draft AI registry for artificial intelligence, which is in line with the Treasury Board Secretariat AI registry, and that's going to be kind of the first element for us the first kind of artifact for us to use to start creating a departmental AI registry to track and record our systems in a standard fashion. Our AI, so all of kind of the things that I've been talking to about, like guiding principles, the life cycle, and things of that nature. This is kind of what we believe, how trustworthy AI. Like if you take our AI governance framework, this is it in a nutshell. We have the oversight committee, or actually we have the overlaying SSC AI guiding principles. We have the SSC AI oversight committee, which has participants from all the branches within our organization, and stakeholders that play a role in artificial intelligence, ensuring that it is safe. And we kind of have our life cycle and our impact evaluators, and our impact evaluators are also comprised with a multi-faceted group. We have change management, change practitioners, we have governance and oversight, as well as we have the data governance team to kind of look at the data side, legal, ethical, and privacy. We working very closely with the privacy groups, security oversight through security assessments, and sustainability, and looking at how we can make these systems, how we can reduce our environmental footprint and make these systems a lot more environmentally friendly. And this is kind of our approach, looking at the framework in its entirety. This is what we believe are the necessary foundational elements that demonstrate that your systems can be trusted. I'll talk a little bit about our governance model. We do have a series of branches or service lines, or like little mini departments. And so we adopted at SSC, we adopted what we call the hub and spoke model. And the reason we adopted the hub and spoke model is because we are a very large department, and various service areas or service lines, they have expertise in their area of business. And so and because we're very, very big. It also would not make sense if all of the artificial intelligence use cases and all of the incubation and kind of be all centrally managed. What we wanted to do is we wanted to stand up an artificial intelligence center of excellence. And the idea behind the artificial intelligence center of excellence is just that. You are a center of excellence that we set policies, we set not policies, I should say, we set guidelines, we set directives and standards for the department to be able to explore artificial intelligence in a way that is responsible, in a way that is safe and ethical. But we work very closely with service lines and or branches to enable them to be able to explore artificial intelligence for their business. And so that's kind of how our hub and spoke model works. We are kind of the expert of artificial intelligence, but we understand the fact that these branches and they are the business experts. They're the experts in the work that they do. So we want to through this model we actually enable the branches and service lines within our department to explore this capability in a way that that is safe and that adheres with various guidelines, standards, and directives. And so there's still a lot of room to grow at Shared Services Canada. But one of the things that we've done is we've actually integrated the algorithmic impact assessment into our project management governance, and we are also proliferating and evangelizing the kind of the use of the need for artificial intelligence, but also ensuring that people as departments and sorry, not departments, as service lines and branches, as they start to begin to explore artificial intelligence, they frequently they come to us and to talk about like how do we do it responsibly. We have a product we want to take into production, or we have a piece of technology we want to explore, and how do we do it in a way that that is responsible and that adheres with the guiding principles. And so we enable them to come, like we enable them to do it in a way that they can explore, but they have the guardrails in place to do so safely. And the oversight committee is the overarching body that focuses on ensuring that any legal requirements are met, any privacy requirements, data security risks, and ethics, that those elements have all been addressed and are well understood before a system goes into production. Our next steps for the AI governance is we actually want to have the framework approved and endorsed. I believe we've actually already done that step, and we've already commenced on integrating the framework into various key business processes. The AI registry is kind of one of our ways of integrating into the departmental business process, whereby we go to the oversight committee and we can kind of look at what it is that everybody within the department are currently working on, taking a look and seeing, are there any duplicates? Are there any similar initiatives that we can join forces on and collaborate on, so that way we're not duplicating efforts, that we're not or we're not doing shadow IT and everybody, or shadow AI, and everybody's kind of developing and exploring AI in their little bubble. But so this is a way for us to really highlight and raise awareness of kind of what we are doing within the department and in artificial intelligence. We're actively kind of testing out various governance solutions to help us put the framework into practice, and we are also looking at establishing various benchmarks to assess and analyze AI systems. We are starting from fairness, so we're actually we're exploring various current benchmarks, and we're actually testing those benchmarks in our environment to get to develop expertise in terms of how do you execute these tests to really understand if your systems are fair, and what does it actually mean to say that my system is fair. So we're putting a lot of effort into that at the moment, and we are going to be working towards implementing various monitoring and auditing mechanisms, ensuring that we continuously assess AI systems throughout their life cycle. And as with everything, or at least within SSC, we take an iterative approach to ensure and kind of iteratively work to mature our AI governance practice within the department. But these are kind of the quick, immediate next steps of areas that we're going to be focusing on. Um, and I'll end on this slide, and it's quite an important one. And it's about our kind of, because we've been at this for 6 years, we don't have it all solved. But one of the things that we did find is when departments are, or when you're really starting to look at artificial intelligence, um, executive sponsorship is paramount to your success, right? And that was the case in our department from the get-go. Our chief technology officer was um, an incredible champion of artificial intelligence within our department, and that's something that we, when we work with other departments, that is kind of the first thing that we advocate for, is the need for that level of sponsorship and support from your executive leadership. Data is very important for artificial intelligence, garbage in, garbage out, but it's also about provenance and data governance. Data governance is, at least in my experience, a lot of people conflate data governance with AI governance. Data governance is incredibly important, but it's part of AI governance. So having that relationship with your chief data officer, understanding kind of where this data is, understanding the provenance of data is incredibly important. Starting small and building upon on your successes, identifying the quick wins, but really understanding what those quick wins are. But more importantly, really understanding the outcomes you're trying to achieve and what success looks like of those quick wins. Otherwise, those quick wins tend to grow and sprawl into something that is anything but a quick win. And looking and establishing a central authority, either an AI center of expertise or an AI center of excellence, but a body within your organization that really focuses on artificial intelligence from a technology perspective, from an educational perspective, advisory perspective, and really kind of getting a sense and understanding what your departmental AI vision is, what your AI strategy is for the department, how that fits in, and because that's going to drive the use cases you incubate. And investing heavily into in-house development for top talent, and prioritizing being vendor agnostic, that is a fine balance, and as well as preparing clients for adoption, and focusing really on managing the people side of change. And I can't stress that enough. You can have the best product out there, but if you don't spend time focusing on managing and change management, specifically people side of change management, the best products are not going to be adopted. And look, implementing a responsibility and governance framework for ensuring that you develop in a way that is responsible, in a way that aligns with the best practices and guiding principles and values and ethics, and as well as looking at automation, because that seems to that is the fastest kind of way to get a quick win. Looking, and it is through automation, looking at processes where you can automate processes, and then looking as to where you can introduce artificial intelligence. I'll stop here. Thank you very much for your time today. If anybody has questions, please don't hesitate to ask them.
Thank you again, Alicia. Really appreciate it. Carol is going to do a quick update now on our AI governance solution. So Alicia, feel free to stay if you want. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. Folks, if you have other questions that you think about afterwards, please reach out to me, and we can put you in touch with Alicia. If you'd like a copy of the presentation that she did today, please let me know. And Alicia is willing to share that as well. And thank you so much for your time, Alicia. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Without further ado, my colleague Kirill Kasanenko is going to.
So I think it's a perfect segue into the previous presentation. We've done our AI governance solution we've finished the first iteration in end of December. We did the presentation now in January, guys. Since that, there has been a number of enhancements that we have done to the tool. This is the oversight dashboard of our solution. So you will notice that we have one of the primary elements of AI governance and what it's shaping up so far, because it's a hyper evolving topic, to be honest with you guys. And if I talk to 5 different people about AI governance, I might receive 4 different answers. There is some critical fundamentals such as ethical AI, responsible AI, risk-free AI, if that could be possible. But realistically, AI system register is part of, major pillar of our solution and any type of AI governance practice you want to have established. You'll notice we have information about system statuses. We've actually created our own baseline model of AI governance framework in QualiWare based on publicly available information we have had. Was in both TBS and Canada.ca. And then it goes into a list of catalogs and some actions that helps you to determine how well this AI is deployed in your organization and how well it performs, what are the risks and compliance associated with those AI systems. So that's the second iteration, the second update that we've done recently to our AI governance solution. If you want to go to the next slide, Cecilia.
Oh, I have to
I'll be
get
happy
smaller.
at the end. I'll be happy to demonstrate you guys some of those live capabilities, and I think it will very much resonate with some of the items that Alessia was talking about in your slides. So the background, I don't think I have to go into that into much of a depth of a detail because Alessia has well explained why the AI governance should be present in any type of organization, whether it's a private sector or public sector. It's really critical right now. We are in a hyper evolving space right now. Now, the primary benefits of our solution I want to highlight is really about centralized visibility, audit readiness for some of the AI systems that you want to develop or deploy or adopt, and then strategic and risk-driven governance. So we want to tie it all back to enterprise architecture. We also want to tie it back to risk management and compliance. The legislation, again, evolves around AI systems. So we want to stay on top of things and ensure that we comply with the recent legislations and regulations that are in place in Canada and internationally. Next slide, please. It's going to be the next slide, and then we'll move on to the live demo. So the list of updates, what we've done. We've refreshed AI catalogs and we provided refreshment to the simplified register as well. We've added TBS policies into a roster of our policy list. We've updated the glossary. We've added project-related information to the AI governance dashboard as well. Impact analysis. So we want to also trace back to how it impacts on our rest of our organization, whether it will be processes or the applications. We want to see what's the linkage between that and how it might impact in the rest of our organization when we deploy an AI governance tool. And then there's some other items such as roles. We've defined the roles, we've added documentation, we added more content, and we've customized the attributes on the existing templates to provide more sophistication as well as more granularity to some of the AI governance use cases, as well as features that you might want to see in your register. So if there are any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to share my screen and I'll showcase some of those updated items. All right, so that would be our AI governance solution, guys. Just sharing live QualiWare repository. You'll notice at the top we have AI system register, and I'm not going to go through an entire set of demo today, guys. If you're interested, please reach out. We'll be happy to organize a specific demo for you. There's also a recording on our AI governance solution that we did in January. But we've done the refreshment to the AI system register. So it allows you to now quickly and easily identify AI systems that you currently have in your inventory, AI usage purposes, their life cycle, impacts, data sets, data sources, is the personal information involved in any of those AI systems. Now, all of those views, just as a reminder, is fully configurable and customizable to your organization. But in a nutshell, if somebody needs to have a quick glance about their AI system register, they can see it right there. We've also updated the master list of the register as well. You'll see there's a large variety of information that will be present on that list, and that would include everything in a simplified register, as well as it goes into the more details on data, sensitivity, information ownership, impacts, use cases, capabilities, and so on and so forth. So somebody like, again, Alessia, who would want to onboard a very much trustworthy and responsible AI, she would be able to use one of those examples of AI register to track what are we onboarding right now, what's the life cycle stage of it, what information uses, who is responsible, who should we be talking to about, data sensitivity, and then what are the use cases and capabilities it's really trying to deliver in the organization. The next what we've done was we've added the policies as well. And the policies list here is quite substantial, and it's not just the demo content, guys. It's really a list of best practices that we've researched about, and we did the analysis. Those policies really should be a part of any organization if you want to deploy responsible AI or you want to establish your own AI governance practice. So if I was to click on GOC policies, this will essentially give you a list of all or a quite a number of legislation that we were able to find in regards to the policies from TBS on AI. We would also have a rather more common list of policies and objectives and a number of policies that any organization needs to have in place. This is something that you're able to reuse when you have our AI governance desktop. You're able just to grab those existing attributes and essentially start mapping them out against the rest of your AI assets as well as architecture. The next one we've added was glossary. And that's something that we talked about for a while because, again, the topic and the industry is evolving, and it can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people, and we had to establish a certain, terminology and standards. So we've implemented both industry-wide terms as well as GC terms into our roster of glossary. There's over hundreds of different definitions that you're able to find, and for those who are using GC terms, be able to find those relevant TBS established terminology, and then for more common terminology, we've used industry-wide and industry-known terms and definitions. So again, something that is evolving right now, and like I said, AI governance means a lot of different things for different stakeholders. The next item that we've added was the project statuses in the chart. So something in the bottom over here, guys, you'll notice that now we're able to see the number of projects that we have in the roster, as well as their statuses and start and date governance and so on. This is really to demonstrate that at some point this becomes projects. So AI systems that you might onboard or any AI system related activities might become the projects or initiatives. You want to link them together, and you want to be able to easily track them. You might want to know what's their budget is, and you want to know where we at right now in regards to those AI projects. So all of that here could be seen in a one dedicated repository. The next item would be quite intriguing as well, and I'm gonna go back to what Alessia said about really understanding the impacts on the rest of the organization regarding to the processes, policies, or people or even systems. So we've developed 3 different examples of impact analysis that could be used in the AI governance context. One of it would be processes. I'm going to open one of those BPMN diagrams, and then I'll click on impact analysis. You will notice that, I'm going to make it larger so everybody can see it. Right here, effect, enable it. So you will notice that we have a BPMN diagram, and then one of those BPMN diagrams you want to identify where's the AI risk lives within an activity. So certain activities might have risks, AI risks. So if I click on that, this will highlight me the activities that has an AI risk present in that BPMN diagram. Now, the next one would be which activities or process has human in the loop, because we always want to have human in the loop of whether it's a process or a system or any type of activities that we do in our organization. You'll notice that those particular activities or processes have the human intervention or human control in place that able to, tell you that this is where certain decisions might need to be made whenever you execute in the process. And then the AI present in the activity as well. So it could highlight you the number of activities that where the AI is present. And like Alyssa said, you will notice that AI will be present in vast variety of processes, as well as in most of your organization right now, you're using AI. So identifying where is it present, you're able to pay more attention to how it might impact on the organization and what are the risks and controls that should be in place in order to mitigate that AI risk. Similar example would be with, I'm going to go back to the main page, folks. And I'm going to show you an example with an application landscape. So that would be relevant to the application portfolio management teams. What happens if you, just going to move it here. What happens if you want to identify an application that has an AI risk in place? Oh, perfect. We would be able to click on that button. This will highlight those information systems where the AI risk is present. Again, similar to the process diagrams, we want to have an identification where the human is in the loop and human is present. So there are certain activities within the application that human performs or approves or oversees. We also might want to identify which applications have AI components or AI systems, or the application itself is an AI system. So that's something that would help you to identify and go back to those risks and compliance components and apply the appropriate controls to your organization and help you to drive and enhance your decision making in regards to AI. So that's really on the impact analysis and how we've added that to the process diagrams in the application landscape. Now, the last but not least, I'm going to quickly highlight as well. Just give me a second. We've defined 3 roles as well. So now we have 3 different roles as part of the AI governance dashboard. That would be executive manager, risk and compliance officer, and then the last one I said was AI governance analyst. AI governance analyst is really a very much high level master role where you get access to all of the information in regards to AI governance. You want to manage catalogs of, AI, and then who's responsible for those AIs, associated systems and processes, policies, and so on. You use that role. And then for something a little bit more concrete, you would use an executive or a manager role where you might want to see just the high level information about AI systems that are deployed, what the value they are driving to your organization, and then what are the risks associated to deploying that or adopting AI. And then risk and compliance officer would be particularly responsible for risk assessment, risk mitigation, compliance component in relevance to adopting AI. Now, the last but not least, I just want to quickly remind you, because Alessa did talk about that, it was an impact assessment. So we've implemented the first iteration of impact assessment in QualiWare. So this was taken directly from the Canada.ca website. Essentially, there's over 100 of questions that you need to respond when you want to adopt or bring AI over to your organization. So we have that implemented in QualiWare. So through the service that was available since 10/1. Are there any questions? Anything that particular that you guys want me to showcase? All right. Thank you for.
Oh, Kuno.
Kuno, please.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just want to mention, and I know that may not be so interesting for you guys, but there is a new AI Act in the EU right now, and that means that we've had to introduce on every object in the repository a spatial sub-dialog where you can document whether the object that you're documenting has AI support, or even if the object in QualiWare was used using AI to get created or updated. So there's a lot of extra features. We also have an AI Act, of course, more relevant for people in the EU. I realize that, but you may get inspired by that as well, and you know. That compliance part may be interesting to look at, and I like what you've just shown, Carol. It's a very nice governance desktop you made here, and I think that it's really something that it's a topic that we need to learn more about. I mean, we're in development of this right now, not just QualiWare, but everybody. So I like to share ideas around this. So that's great.
Thank you, Kuno. Hopefully this dashboard is not just nice, but also effective in achieving what we want to get done. So
Yeah.
Just going back to the pretty picture, right? So it's not just a pretty picture, but also an effective dashboard that we hope that
Exactly.
we would collaborate with our clients and be able to help you guys to deploy the AI responsibly and ethically. I want to just quickly, guys, summarize something. So again, this is a centralized repository for you guys to have an AI register and oversight dashboard that helps you to make decisions about AI systems, whether you want to develop a new one or whether you want to adopt an existing AI technology. We also have a list of researched and defined and created AI policies, practices, and processes as part of that particular catalog list. And we have standards which we've embedded into the QualiWare dashboard as well, which would be GCI governance framework baseline model, NIST AI risk management framework, and ISO 42001. So it's not just really a demo. Does anybody have a question?
No, I'm just muted.
No worries. It's really a list of highly useful best practices and artifacts that your teams are able to reuse right from day one. Not just a demo content, but actually a live and very much reusable content. And then finally, AI oversight is on the horizon. And we've been talking to a number of experts in AI fields, and everybody's talking about it's really a race. At this point, it's a race, and then if you don't produce the results, if you don't use AI, you're really missing out. You're really missing out. I'm going to quote what the person said, Senior Director of AI in IT development said that you have a chance of getting fired not for misusing, you have a chance of getting fired for misusing AI, but you have a higher chance of getting fired if you don't use AI entirely. And unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. But at some point, once we start getting to the maturity of agentic AI, all of that agentic AI would need to be regulated and it would need to be governed. So we're a little bit early in the game as far as AI governance, but I anticipate in a year or two from now, it's going to be a quite of a hot topic.
Thank
I'm
you
done.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, so thanks very much, everybody. We kept you in on a beautiful afternoon here in Ottawa, where it's 23 degrees outside and sunny. And I appreciate that you all stayed to watch our presentation. The next meeting is going to be at the end of May. Will be the last Monday of May, which is the 25th. And please feel free to send in ideas, questions for topics ahead of the meeting. It can be things that you want, you're looking for more information on, and for features and functionality in the tool. It could be use cases for the product. It could be things that you need help figuring out. It could be anything. So please do contribute. This is your users group meeting, so it always helps if we get some input from you on what we're going to present. And if you have any questions on any of the content that you've seen today, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Carol or Kevin. Ryan put the links to the items that we mentioned earlier. He put them in the chat, and Mike also put a link to his webinar into the chat as well. So if you have any questions about those things, feel free to let me know. That's everything for today, folks. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you at next month's user group meeting. Thanks very much.